becomes more and more important. And that's for every guy here. We got to do it better. Our goal is to have the kind of team that nobody wants to play. And that means that we have to impose our will to dominate the competition all the time. It's all about what does it take to break you.
Welcome to the Nick Saban Jr. Sports Talk TV. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Watch the videos to the end. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, today we're gonna talk about 10 most important conference games for the 2023 season. 10 most important games for the 2023 season. And so my number one is gonna be Ohio State and Michigan. Now, these games are not in order by date. These are just from 1 to 10, which ones I think that is important. So, the first one is Ohio State and Michigan. So, this is an important game because, for one, it's the big rival game every year that we all be ready to watch every year. But for Ohio State, this is very important because if they lose to Michigan going into the season, this will be Ohio State's third loss. Now, with that being said, if they lose for a third time, they're going to start looking at Ryan Day real closely like, is he the coach for the future to get us over the edge, get us over the hump? Because, hey, Ohio State was on a long run for a long time, but now Michigan look like they're starting to control this thing. So, number one is Ohio State versus Michigan. Number two, LSU versus my Alabama Crimson Tide. This is an important game because, again, it's one of those rival games that you expect to see every year. But for us, this is a must-win game for LSU. LSU will be coming to the house this year, coming to Alabama this year. But we will have a first-time starter in the LSU versus Alabama game. We will have first-time starter, and we cannot lose 2 games in a row to LSU. We cannot do it this year. Regardless of the circumstances. And this year, hey, I think this is a real critical moment for Alabama to have to get back in the playoffs and win the national championship. But for LSU, this is a time that if they beat us, they can get one up on us. They can start, rising to the top in the SEC West. And so, for that being said, this is important to us. Number 3, Georgia and Tennessee. Georgia's 2-time back-to-back national championship champions. Tennessee, they had a big year this year. They had a big season this past season. And this game can be tricky. And the only reason why I say it can be tricky, not saying Georgia's going to lose anything, but the only reason why it can be tricky because they will have also, too, a first-year starter at quarterback. And Tennessee, if they can come in with the momentum they left off from last season, because Joe Milton is expected to be their quarterback. And Joe Milton played versus Clemson in the bowl game, and Joe Milton looked their lights out. If he can continue that momentum, this can be a tricky game for Georgia as well. And then for Tennessee program has been trending upward since last season. This will be a big game to start solidifying that Tennessee is getting back to relevancy. But number 4, Tennessee versus Alabama. Hey, y'all seen the game last year. Tennessee beat us by a field goal last year. That was a shootout. We scored a lot of points, but on the defensive side, we did a lot of jacked up crap. No adjustments made, but same thing like I was saying for Georgia. First year starter at quarterback for Alabama, and Joe Milton too. Joe Milton is going to be a new quarterback for Tennessee, but he ended on a high note. And for us, if Tennessee can pull this game off, hey, they can be, again, proving that they're trending upward in the East. But for Alabama, this is an important game for us to win. But Alabama, Tennessee is at number 4 for me. Alabama, Tennessee, number 4. But my number 5 is Penn State versus Ohio State. And for Penn State's sake, I already said the reason why. Matter of fact, the reason why I pick Ohio State is for Ryan Day's sake. Ryan Day has to win these games. But for this sake, I'm saying Penn State because now James Franklin been at Penn State for a while and he's been decent. He's been winning games. But for Penn State and James Franklin, it's going to be starting to look at, oh man, we can't. If they lose this game, they're gonna be like, James Franklin cannot beat the relevant teams in this conference. We can't beat Ohio State. We can't beat Michigan. At some point they're gonna have to take the reins and start beating these important teams to try to get into the playoffs. And they'll start looking at James Franklin like, is he the guy for the future? Good coach, but hey, you're just the president of college football right now. So my number 6 is USC versus Oregon. At number 6, my 10 most important conference games in 2023. USC, Oregon, number 6. Oregon, they came out lost against Georgia. But after that, hey, Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks were hot. Bo Nix is returning for his 5th year. USC, same thing I'm going to say about everybody else. USC, this is a must win because even though Lincoln Riley is in his 2nd year at USC, you got to start looking at Lincoln Riley back at what he was doing at Oklahoma. This season, to me at USC, it looked good, but it looked familiar to me when he was at Oklahoma. He win games, but he can't get over the hump. He lost to Utah twice, and he came and lost to Tulane. Hey, but Caleb Williams is returning, so if Caleb Williams returned this season, the Heisman winner with Mario Williams and other talented dudes on the USC team, if they can't win it this year, now you start looking at Lincoln Riley. Can he get you over the hump? Yeah, I know it's his 2nd year at USC, but look at what he has done from Oklahoma to USC. It looks identical to me. Number 7, Michigan versus Penn State. Michigan versus Penn State. Hey, Penn State is a must win. Michigan, hey, you need to continue to trend upwards because, like I said, if you can't beat this team, now they start looking at Jim Harbaugh. Hey, he's winning games, but hey, we need to do more than just get in the playoffs. Even though that's great, you did it 2 years in a row. That's awesome. But now you start looking at Jim Harbaugh. Is he gonna be the coach for the future? You know, he really wants to get back to the NFL. He's been flirting with it. So, hey, that's an important game. Number 8, Oregon versus Washington. Now, this is a game I'm actually excited to see. Washington is returning Michael Pickens Jr. Oregon is returning Bo Nix. Both of them, in my opinion, both quarterbacks, Bo Nix and Michael Pickens Jr. could be in the Heisman race. That's my opinion. Both of them are going to be in the Heisman race next season. Both of them are highly talented quarterbacks. And I believe this game will be a high-scoring game. But that's an important game this season. For me, that's on my list. I'm going to tell you, that's on my list of games to watch this season. Number 9, Florida State versus Clemson. Florida State is back on the rise. They're trying to trend upward. Florida State is one of the teams that has playoff potential. What I say playoff potential, not saying they're getting in the playoffs, but they have the potential to make the playoffs. They have the athletes. They're trending outward. But for Clemson, I think this is more important for Clemson because of Clemson. Past couple of years, it's like you're losing grip on the ACC. If you lose this game, believe me, you're gonna get a lot of flack for it if you lose against Florida State, and it looks like you've been losing grip on the ACC. Tennessee just came out and smoked y'all in the last bowl game. That bowl, you better get it together. And my number 10, honestly, I don't even know why. I don't even have no say so, no reasoning, but Iowa versus Wisconsin. And hell, I don't know why. I'm just be real. Iowa versus Wisconsin. But number 1, Ohio State, Michigan. Number 2, LSU versus Alabama. Number 3, Georgia versus Tennessee. Number 4, Tennessee versus Alabama. Number 5, Penn State versus Ohio State. Number 6, USC versus Oregon. Number 7, Michigan versus Penn State. Number 8, Oregon versus Washington. That's on my list to watch this year. Number 9, Florida State versus Clemson. Number 10, Iowa and Wisconsin. And I don't know why, but thank y'all for tuning in. Please comment on it. Please comment on it. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think about this. But thank y'all for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Share it with everybody. And let me get y'all opinion on it. But roll Tide and I'm out.